Hi guys, welcome back to Dmac Kustoms on YouTube. Dave here in the garage. No bomb truck. Waiting on I think it's a 18 Model T vintage truck arriving that I've got to do some sign writing on. I've already sign written this truck before. I'm doing a complete redo on it again, putting everything back on that I put on it, I want to say maybe 7 years ago, but we'll get more into that in a wee bit. Just waiting now. Probably carrying the traffic. Guy's supposed to be here any minute. He's coming from a wee way away and towing it over. Well, I'm assuming it's on a trailer and I'll have it for a few days while we get it all re-lettered in the Waikato Breweries livery. Is that the right word? Livery. Anyway, I'll bring it back when it's here. Here it is, but I stand corrected, it's not a 1918, it's a 1924 Model T truck, timber, sort of sea caddy type thing. But yeah, so this is what we've got to reinstate a whole bunch of sign writing on over the next few days, so it'll take me a little bit. I've got some extra stuff that I didn't do last time that I've got to do on the doors this time and on the bonnet. Last time I did it, I only did work from the cab back and it was in pieces when I did it, so this time it's kind of complete. So I suppose we'll get into it. Okay, being the true hoarder that I am, and I like to hold on to things just in case, we enter this little orifice here and we have to go rummaging through all of this stuff here because I should still have all my tracings and stuff for this particular vehicle. That might be it there. That's not it. That's it all there. I kept it all because you never know. Luckily I did, because there was a problem and we had to redo it. Not my problem. The problem stems from the paint system that was used on this Model T way back when, because it was an insurance job. It got rear-ended and it's all wooden cabbed, wooden tray and all that kind of stuff, and it got rear-ended and shunted forward and everything just kind of got broken except from the firewall forward. So they rebuilt the entire wooden cab and all the tray sides and tailgate and everything like that, and it was painted. I don't know what paint system was used, and then I got it in pieces. I got the cab and all the bits that I needed to sign write. I did my part and it all went back, and it's been on the road for a number of years, as I said earlier, sort of 7 or so years, and go away fly. And for some reason the paint, or the primer that they used when they painted the cab, from what I can gather, failed, and it all started just peeling up like an old peely thing. So being that it was an insurance job, and quite luckily the insurance company came to the party by the sounds of things and agreed to completely repaint it, and that included re-sign writing it, which is my part. So we'll get this stuff out and we'll have a look. Now, just as well I've kept all of this stuff, because I now have to make sense of it all again and reuse it all. That was on, I think that was on the, maybe on the tailgate. That might have been across the back of the cab. Might have been. I might take that up. Or hand drawn. Well, I think I might have traced it off the original pieces. Actually, the guy brought them over for me to copy off. 100-year reenactment. I'm not sure where that goes. I have to look at the photos. 3rd to the 7th of November 2012. There's obviously some little scrolly things there, but I'm not sure what they're for. On there, I think. I have to take that back on. And then we have another Waikato Breweries. I'm not sure where that was, but we'll... Oh, sideboards. That must be on the side of the tray, maybe. And we also have Willie the waiter, who is the Waikato Breweries mascot. I'm going to start this tomorrow morning. I've got to do a little bit more prep stuff for the doors because there's a sort of few colours that may need second coating, so I'm going to want to get those on early in the process. Got a lot of gold lettering to do on this, which is a pain because it doesn't cover terribly well at all. So, and then black outline and drop shadows. I think I have to have a look at the photos, but yeah, so we'll have a little bit of a walk around it and explain what... Nah, we won't really. You'll see it as I do it. Okay, so early the next morning, as you can tell by all the birds chirping away like mad little birdie things, straight into it. This is, you've got to do this on both sides. Now this little part here, I've got to flip that, so he's got to get turned around. This little guy is called Willie the waiter. Now there's two versions of this on this truck, this little character. There's another one down here which is going on the door down here, so, and they've both got like colours and white and stuff and that in them, so I want to kind of get the first colours down on those before I do anything else. Then after that we got all the gold and black stuff to work through. So like I said, first up I've got to get this panel laid out on both sides and the doors laid out on both sides, and then I can get some paint going down on those so that can be drying off before I sort of hit the next area, because I've got stuff to do up across the top of here. I've got stuff to do across the top of the front cowl there, some pinstriping on the bonnet, these logos on the doors. I've got lettering here, pinstriping on the sideboards and lettering and stuff on the tailgate. So I'll set about tracing these out. These tracings here were done off the original truck. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but the original truck was rear-ended and everything got broken. All the wood got broken and just got shafted forward. So I took tracings off the original woodwork for all of this, except for what's going on the doors. That's new. I haven't done that part before. So yeah, so we just got to pretty much put back what was there. Now some of the like little scrolly things, they're not really how I would do them, but it doesn't really matter in this instance. So I'm kind of restoring it back to how it was done when this truck was originally kind of restored into this livery that it's in now, if that makes sense. So even though, you know, it's got kind of, you can see here on these bits here that go on the sideboards, it's got this kind of scrolly design. But anyway, I'll set about tracing all this on and get it done. Show you what I mean if you don't know what the tracing means. On the back of this is all covered in charcoal, so all I have to do is essentially draw over the top of it with a pen and it will leave an impression behind, and hopefully enough for me to be able to see and follow along. See if it come out, should do. Yeah, so if you look up here where I've ruled through there, that's where our little charcoal line gets left behind. That's very fragile, so you have to be careful. If you rub it, knock it, you'll rub it off, you know what I mean? Anyway, carry on. This is boring, this part. And that's pretty much drawing on a tracing, if you didn't know that already. So I'll carry on and get this down to here, and then I'll show you what we've got to do down there. It's probably not really that important, but I've got another version of him, so he'll be facing forward like so. Know what I'm saying? Okay, sweet, got everything, I think, except for old Willie. He's got landed right about there. Check that on there. and set about tracing him on. Okay, so I've got to lay out this guy on the door as well. So this is a big kind of yellow gold panel, and Willie the Wader on here. Now this is a earlier version of Willie the Wader, so it's a bit more of the traditional bottle top, the original bottle top apparently. And now my circle is 240, so this in here is 340, so I want to go 50 millimeters up, 50 down, back there, get my centre, 250. Now I'm going to use some Sorrel paper on this one, since I've got some now, so I'll go get it. Okay. Sorrel transfer paper, it's wax free, so you know, it doesn't get wax on your stuff, but I've already pre-prepared a piece. I've got a nice new shiny new piece for this tracing, so I've got to just stick these two pieces of paper together and get it up onto there. Right, so that little smudgy mark there is my centre, so that's got to go there. And bottom centre, I might just chuck a ruler on that and check it, wherever that might be. Yes, that's saying 45. What did I screw up? It's saying 55. Still a little high. 48, 50. There's a train. Basically, check your measurements, lads. Check your measurements, because like I had put the wrong measurement on there. I measured that 40. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with petrol. Another couple of bits on there just to hold her in place. And start the tracing process again. Check that I've got the Sorrel around the right way. Can't tell. Right, yeah. Might have to push a bit harder though, I think. Okay, so that's all that's going to get put on there for now. Just got to tell me where the white and the yellow's got to go. I actually did put more of Willie on there than I really needed to, but doesn't matter. I also put some registration marks around the edges, because when I put this back on to put the lettering on, like tomorrow when this yellow and that's all dry, I need to know where to put it to make it all line up and register. So that's that ready to go. I've just got to go and do that again on the other side. Alright, so I'm just chucking a bit of white down where the white needs to go on this little Willie the Wader man down here. I'll come back through tomorrow or the next day with the white, the black. Bloody rag thing that he carried around. Green go on there too, like darker green than the truck green. And a little bit of yellow right here. Alright, so just got to put the gold, yellow all around this little man here. And this is the kind of original logo, or Willie the Wader, that was designed in I think 1946 or something like that. Not sure when it was changed, but it was changed at some point. Okay, so that's the first coat of that yellow on there. I'm going to have to second coat it, and in hindsight I should have just painted a big yellow circle on there and then put the white on top when it was dry, but I was trying to sort of maybe get away with some one coat sort of stuff. But yeah, I couldn't get it to cover as solidly as I would have liked, but it's yellow. Yellows are notoriously bad for coverage, so hopefully later in today I might be able to get a second coat on it. It's risky second coating enamels with a short turnaround, but it's not impossible, but you do run the risk of it, you know, like crocodiling and stuff like that. Next up, I think I might move on to the tailgate and start getting the gold down on there. You know, get that down early before the sun comes around that side of the garage and makes it absolutely impossible to see what I'm doing, or make it too hot to work in that area. So you've got to think ahead. If anyone's interested, brushes, the black handled little jobbies there, AS Hanover number 5 little short haired thing, and then this little number 2 chisel writer AS Hanover, and this tan handled, brown handled one here with all the sticky out bristles on it at the moment. That is a brush I've had since I was like 17 or something, and that is a Hayden 2000 series pure sable lettering brush. But yeah, she's getting quite old, but still a nice brush. Gets a really nice chisel, so I've just got to oil these up all now before I kind of move on, just so they don't kind of dry out. I like to, even if I'm not going to be using it for a couple of hours, I'll still re-neats foot it, you know, just keep them nice and soft and supple for the next time I want to use them. Okay, so I'll meet you around the back once I've got these sorted. Okay, so just looking at on the computer here, hopefully that shows up on the camera. Yep, so I've got 100 years reenactment, the Wellington to Auckland thing, and then the date on the other end. And yeah, so we'll go and lay those on there, and got them ready in the order that they got to appear on the back of here. Unveiling. Yeah, boy. Yeah, got it all. Sweet. Oops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm troubled out. Looking at this paint finish on here, looks like someone's tried to wet sand it. It's enamel, like alkali enamel, which doesn't really wet sand all that well, but interesting. Alright, so I'll put this up in here. Ta-da! This one here, I actually had to drop down a scotch lower to avoid this. It's only by about that much, otherwise it would have been sitting right up in it, and I've still got to outline and drop shadow it. So yeah, so that's actually slightly off center, but it'll be okay. Okay, so I say that a lot. I taped the top and bottom lines on all of this stuff. I was umming and ahhing as to whether to do it or not, since it's kind of got a kind of rounded serif on it anyway, but I thought I might as well. I just noticed that one's a little bit running uphill down there, and it's going to still have a outline and that around it anyway, but I thought I might as well try and get, you know, neat as possible. You don't have to tape it, but I just thought I would. We'll see how it goes, and for this I'm going to be using an AS Hanover Sable Chisel Rider, which is a really nice brush. It's like a medium here. Okay, so that's the gold on the back. Now, I forgot how horrible lettering with this metallic paint is, and it was going off like super fast. I'm going all gummy on my brush, you know, like within a couple of letters it was kind of starting to get quite horrible to use. So I knocked it back with a little bit of linseed oil. Downside of that is makes it even thinner, so coverage is even worse, but upside makes it way nicer to letter with. Downside, dries kind of quite a bit slower depending on how much you put in. You've got to be super careful. Upside gets a better gloss. So the last kind of half from over there onwards is kind of the thinner, slower drying version. The side panels on here now, and we'll probably get into those next, which is just the Waikato Breweries and a couple of scrolls, but so that'll be in gold as well. But and yeah, get those done while I'm kind of prepping those up. Hopefully my little mixed up tin is kind of evaporating a little bit. So yeah, get into that, and I'll see you when we're ready to do some more painting, I guess. Okay, so same old story, tracing over this and transferring it onto the sideboard. Okay, so yes, everything's on there, I think. A little straightish. Tape it up, I guess. I'll tape the top and bottom lines for the most part again on this stuff, and yeah, set about painting it on. Okay, little cramp down this side. I probably should have moved the truck over a little bit, but she'll be alright. Okay, so coming to the end of the gold on this side, these sideboards, I've just kind of been reminded of why I don't like lettering in metallics. This particular metallic in general. This gold, it's actually really nice gold, but man, it just straight out of the tin doesn't really cover. And straight out of the tin starts kind of going off really fast, and it did that. You know, this tin of gold is, I've had it for a few years and it's always done it. You know, even when it was brand spanking new, it would sort of start tacking off really quick, and it fills your brush up. So as I said earlier, I sort of dropped a bit of linseed oil in, raw linseed oil in, to sort of slow that drying process down a little bit, which it does. Did work, but it also thinned out the paint even more. And you know, as the another hour or so has gone by since I did that, and it's kind of almost back to how it was. I have actually been and thinned it with just a little bit of terps because it was getting all gummy in that again, and that just kind of compounds the problem of it not covering, sort of thing. So I can't really thin it anymore, and I can't really put any more oil in it because it'll just not dry. So I just got to keep pushing along, loading it up, which I don't really like doing what I'm doing, because you end up kind of like thick blobby bits in there, you know. I like it to be bit smoother and a bit flatter, if you know what I'm saying. To get it to cover, I have to kind of do what I'm doing here and just put heaps of paint on and go over and over and over, and yeah, even then it's sort of not covering the greatest, but it'll be alright. We'll get there. If I have to second coat it, I'll second coat it, but you see what I mean? I mean, some lights you can't see that kind of chunkiness, like, you know, like the heavy bits that get left behind and stuff. You can try and brush them out, but you end up just lifting it and ending up with kind of a light spot, weirdly enough. You watch this stroke here go down, starts off like quite a nice even coverage, and then it just sneeze. Yeah, it actually wasn't that bad, that one, so probably not the best example. Okay, so that's the gold on the sideboards. Yeah, it's on there. So I've got to do the fine ales and stouts and gold. I just remembered that, and I've still got to do the upper part of the headboard and the firewall. Might not actually get that done today. What's the time? 2 o'clock. Oh, I might get one of them done, but strangely enough, it's Saturday and I'm going to go to work this afternoon for a few hours, like late this afternoon. Actual, like my proper work. Well, this is proper work. This is actually a paid gig, so working all weekend. Anyway, alright, next up. Okay, so starting to heat up in here now. Got the fine ales and stouts gold on. Just kind of quick and dirty because it's all going to be black outline. So that's kind of all on there. This is kind of curing up quite nicely, but not going to be cured enough for me to second coat it today, unfortunately, because then it would have been good to be able to get the other lettering and that on tomorrow, but ain't going to happen. So I'll keep moving ahead and start getting this logo on the front, which is going to be a bit awkward because there's a whole thing in the way, which wasn't there last time I did this, but yeah, we'll get this taped up and traced on, and maybe, I don't know, kind of running out of day. I've got to go and do that work thing soon, so. Okay, so as you can see, this is going to be kind of awkward to letter. I need my zoom eyes on before I start that. Trace it on with tracing, you know. Okay, so as you can see, got that on there. It's a little bit of a weird kind of balance with this across this arc here, because I mean we're pretty much, you know, parallel to this window, but like the kind of spacing here is a little different, and I think they've done that to compensate for the underhangers on the W that the D doesn't have, so it's kind of, the arc is not a true arc, I think. But anyway, I've got to trace this on, sneeze again, and then that'll be ready to start putting the gold on. I've got to do the same one up the back, on top, above the back window. So, but anyway, get tracing and away we go. Okay, so probably can't really see much up there, but that's all marked out, front's all marked out. But yeah, probably not enough time for me to get a start on it today. Plus, again, like pretty uncomfortably warm in here to be kind of trying to paint, so I might leave that till first thing tomorrow morning. I'll get the gold on those two parts there, and then I have to start putting some black in. I've got to second coat that gold circle there, and then I've got to start outlining black, and that takes ages. I vaguely remember last time it was pretty much a full day of just outlining all the gold. I don't know, maybe I'm just slow, but anyway, I've got the hiccups, so I'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, so the next day, the camera's pointing in the wrong direction. No better, hopefully. Back into pose. I've already been round and second coated all the kind of yellow on the doors. Now I've got to kind of do this most awkward of areas and try and letter the front of this over the hood of this Model T. This is going to be a killer, back killer, I believe. So I'm going to hit it first and try and get it done. I'm doing the outline and the shadow, and that's going to be even worse, but we'll see how we go. Wish me luck. Okay, so leaning over the bonnet of a Model T Ford. Not really what I want to be doing on a Sunday morning, but it's Signwriting, good fun. Getting, you know what I'm saying. Access tricky on this one. I kind of, it was okay, but the what do you call it? Doing the outline and stuff is going to be even trickier. This I was able to kind of go a little bit looser, for want of a better word. Rough is probably a little extreme, and kind of get it on there, but the outline's where I've kind of got to get it as neat as I can, and it's just so awkward trying to get your hands in the right place to be able to get to some of the lower parts of the letters and stuff, but I'll do the best I can. Right, one more gold part to do, and then that's the gold done, thank goodness. The gold, it's a nice gold, but man, it's hard to letter with. I don't know whether you can see it at all on the camera. You know, getting your paint consistency like is kind of really key, but there is no fine line. It's either thick and gluggy and you get coverage, but you run out of brush sort of thing. You only get so far before it dries out, and you get a dry line sort of thing. If you thin it down with either mess, white spirits, or linseed oil, you get a much nicer flow, but the coverage is abysmal. It's just like, you know, oils with half a dozen flakes of gold floating around in it, and trying to get that balance is really tricky. You'll get it, like if you mix up something and it's a little bit on the thin side and you start using it sort of halfway through the word, as it's starting to thicken up in your cup, you get like the middle word is just right, and then it starts to get too thick again by the time you get to the other thing, the other last word sort of thing. So trying to get that balance of like kind of thinning as you go, real tricky. Like I always end up making it too thin, and it's like, oh, so I've got to go back and kind of add some more, you know, straight out of the can to kind of get me back into a consistency that's got a bit more coverage sort of thing. But anywho, I'll get to it and get onto this back one at the back of the cab up the top. Right up there. I keep banging my head on that thing, but it's all taped, ready to go, marked out, so let's go. Alrighty, so that's the last of the gold on. Now we're going to start into the black. So we've got brewers and bottlers of fine ales and stouts, and then we're going to do the black on Willie the waiter. Can't do the black on that one yet because the gold's still, the yellow's still fresh. But I can, once I've got these side panels done with all the black, I can then sort of hook into these sideboards, outline those. I've got some pinstriping's got to go on as well, and outline and drop shadow all of the gold on here, same down here. So by the time I've done that, the stuff I did this morning might be dry enough to maybe start outlining and doing that too as well. Long day of fine lines, man. Yesterday I couldn't see straight by the end of it. After wearing, I don't normally wear glasses for just general roundabout stuff, but I wear them for like close-up stuff like signwriting and tattooing and drawing and things like that. But if I wear them for a long time, when I take them off, my eyes are screwed for about half an hour. It messes with my distance viewing, if that makes, you know what I'm saying, you know, like it, yeah, it's real weird. I don't like wearing glasses, never used to. Anyway, so I'll get myself some black together and then we can start working on these guys. Okay, so onto the brewers and bottlers. I'll stand on this old toolbox. For this I'm using the number 6 Ace Hanover Chisel Rider. Quite a long head brush. Okay, so that's the Willie the Waiter and the outline done around the fine ale and stouts. Now, I ain't gonna lie and say that was trouble-free. I hate sounding really negative, but I did the other side first and it fought me. I couldn't decide what brush to use, you know, to do the outline and stuff, and had paint too thick, paint too thin, too much light, hence the garage doors down. Like I just could not see the end of my brush. Part of that is these nowadays. I'm having a bit of trouble with, especially with blacks. Like I just can't see the end of my brush because the black is so black. It's actually better working in colours because I can see the brush better. So ironically, having less light makes it easier. Just the really bright light coming from outside was too strong and creating difficulties for me. Frustrating, man. Like stuff that used to come so easy is a bit of a struggle sometimes. You can just notice a couple of wonky letters on that, bottlers and stuff, but yeah, it'll be alright. It's kind of reinstating what was there, and yeah, it's tricky. it's tricky when you got to kind of reinstate as well, like what was done, because you're not kind of just redoing it in your own way. You're kind of reinstating it as to how it was done before. So like I've said before, with the little scrolly designs, they're not really what I would do, but I'm putting them back because that's what the guy who owns this truck wants, you know. Same with the lettering and placement and stuff. I really do like the lettering style for that Waikato Breweries. I think it's quite a nice style, but you know, in gold, it's tricky. It looks good when it's done, but man, shit. But anywho, enough whinging about my shortcomings and stuff that are developing with old age. I'm going to go and have some lunch. I'm getting really hungry and I start getting a bit shaky. When I get hungry, shakier. So I'll go and have something to eat, and then we'll start doing the outline and stuff on the sideboards and the tailgate. Getting that done. Okay, so on the back here, been playing around with different brushes to try and find what I wanted to use on this outline and drop shadow, and I've actually switched now to a Kafta script liner number 4. This is a synthetic brush which I have previously said I didn't like very much on this channel, but it's actually working really nice for this because it is stiffer and more rigid. I can kind of work like that rather than trying to drag. I can kind of work off the point, if that makes sense. So carry on. Now I'll probably start making a mess that the camera is switched on, so let's go. It might be too close for these eyes. Not sure where I left off. I think I was about to start doing the black on there. I haven't really been filming a lot. Oh, I did, yeah. I'd switched up brushes, that's right. And now I have switched up to a different brush. I'm using a number 4 pointed sable writer. I found the, I don't know, it's probably me and a paint consistency thing. The Kafta brush that I was using kind of gummed up, if you know what I mean. So I could have kept cleaning it out, and I probably should have done, because it did start off really nice. Whether I started getting impatient or whatever, I don't know. Like, I do tend to do that when I'm doing really repetitive stuff. I get impatient, and then I try to go too fast, and then I get rough, and then I have to go and clean stuff off, and then I have to slow down and start again. But yeah, it's always been like that. Same with house painting and painting windows, and that always start off with the best intentions. But I've just finished doing the black on this side, but that's where I'm going to call it for today. I've had enough. I've been at this since, I don't know, about 8 o'clock this morning. It's about 5:30 now. So yeah, I forgot how punishingly slow all this sort of fine-ish kind of outline is. We'll keep at it, and we'll get tomorrow we'll get into those top and the front and finish off this, and then we've got to do the doors and that. Ideally I want to get this thing kind of cleaned up tomorrow, because I've kind of allowed for 3 days. I have got a spare day that I've booked away from the shop to do this if I need to. But yeah, the extra stuff on the doors, those big yellow logos, they threw me. I didn't know I was doing those until it got dropped off. So there's a bit of preparation I had to do for those, as well as, you know, there's a a little bit of work in them, but yeah, we'll get those done tomorrow as well, hopefully. But yeah, this is the other side, and yeah, see you in the morning. Okay, so that's the outline and drop shadow done on the front there, and that is probably one of the most awkward little bits of sign writing I've done for a long time, like trying to wrangle yourself into a position where you can do a quarter decent job. Like, it was just so, you know, and hard on the old lumbar, if you know what I mean. This morning I came down and traced on the extra stuff that's going on those, and learnt something about Sorrel paper. On this side here was the first side I did. I had the Sorrel paper, which is now in the bin, on the back of that tracing, traced it all on, pulled it off, and it left heaps of graphite on the yellow light, and you touched it and it just rubbed it in, and I was like, oh no. So I tried various products trying to gently clean it off, and it just smeared it into the yellow. So I ended up having to completely polish it off, and wax and grease remover and all sorts of stuff to try and get the graphite off, because it was like that but darker. Whereas I've gone in with just charcoal on the back of my tracing this time, because it puts less down. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, that Sorrel paper works really good on something that has got like weeks of cured paint on it, or automotive paint, or something really kind of hard finished and super dry. But like day old one shot, don't use Sorrel paper, use charcoal or chalk, trust me. Because I figured if I couldn't get it off, I had to try and get it off, and if I wasn't able to get it off and I painted all the other stuff in there, then I'd be trying to cut around the yellow and trying to get yellow to cover the graphite, and that wasn't going to happen. So that's why I kind of cleaned it all off and did it again. Okay, enough about that. Next up, I've got to get that done, and then we're done with all the little skinny outlines and stuff, and then we can get these doors knocked out, and we've got a bit of pinstriping to do. If you look closely, you can see I've kind of actually have marked it out, because I wanted to kind of get a feel for what I was doing, sort of thing. And we've got to do these like little quadrant corners, so I've got to know where to stop with my pinstriping brushes. But anyway, I might go and have some lunch, and then I'm going to hit that headboard, and then yeah, and then we'll get these doors done. Okay, so that's that last bit done. I'll show you so you believe me. Outline and stuff. Gonna get onto these doors now, get the red on. Actually, I wonder if I should do I'll do the red, and then I'll do all the black, and then yeah, that's what I'll do. Red. Alright, getting the red on this lettering here, this Waikato part. So, using number 4 chisel writer from AS Hanover on this part, so it'll give you a nice kind of chisel tip, and that makes sense for getting to the corners. Okay, so onto the black now on this, and I'm still using that number 4 chisel writer for this. It's kind of a freestyle kind of scriptish sort of thing, but it's looking at the original artwork I found online for this thing here. It was like a hand painted, you know, back in the day when commercial artists, you know, used brushes and things like that to design logos and that, and, you know, not computers and shit. It's pretty cool. I like it. Okay, so that's those little door logos done. Just noticed a little flat spot. I might fix that before I let it dry. But anyway, we'll worry about that in a minute. Yeah, like anxiety inducing doing circles, like just in case you didn't know, like oh my god, doing like circles, like, you know, painting it like the yellow circle was one thing, but then outlining it is just a whole nother thing. Went a little bit wider than I was planning to, just because that's the way that brush flared out when you kind of buried it, if you know what I mean. Just so you could go, not working off the tips, working off the heel, you know, just plant that thing and go. And it's not too bad. There's a little bit of a flat spot there. I'll probably, there's a little couple of bits down the bottom, but it's all right, I think. Yeah, might just give them a little bit of a tidy up, and then on to some pinstriping next. But I've got to clean some brushes out. Oh, I forgot to mention too, I bought some new glasses this morning, slightly stronger ones. They're just reading glasses, because that's all my prescription is. And my prescription is really, really weak, like it's barely even a prescription. So I just went down to the warehouse, which for those of you who are in New Zealand, you'll know what that is. For those of you outside of New Zealand, maybe Australia knows, the warehouse is like a kind of like budget shop, but it's big, like a warehouse, hence the name. And they had like $12 reading glasses, so I got a 1.5. So, and that helped a lot with today's like finer, the outline stuff, being able to see what I could do, because when I'm doing finer stuff, my instinct is to get up close, and with my age-related eye degrading or whatever, my focal point wants to be out here, over there, and not up here. When I'm doing little fine stuff, I want to be up here, and so that's why I kind of got some zoomed in glasses, which is what I use at work too, actually. So, right, anyway, enough jibber jabber. Go and clean out some brushes. Okay, so I got Michael Jackson glove on. Helps with the slide and the glide of the old pinstriping brush, so your sweaty fingers don't go on the thing, on the whatever your substrate is. So starting to warm up in here now. So I'm going to get some pinstriping on all of this and get it underway. I think I need a new battery, so we'll get start at the top and work my way down, I think. Right up there, fellas. Okay, so a little bit loaded up on the top there again. Let's get that where I start. I've got put a good load into the brush so I can get the distance that I want to go, and then kind of get a bit too much at the beginning there, and then it kind of thins out through the middle and then gets super thin at the end. But that's a consistency, brush paint consistency thing. All the little quadrants, I'm going to come back and do those with a different brush, but I'm just going to go around and do the whole truck with the old dagger. I think that's what you call them. I should know. Yeah, then we'll go around and do all the quadrants and that with another thing. I've got to do something on the bonnet yet. I have no idea what was on here before, other than I think there was something maybe just coming around there. I don't think it was down the side panels, but the photos I've got of the front are kind of inconclusive, if you know what I'm saying. So, right, let's get these doors done. Get rid of the ladder for a start. Take two. Stop playing around. Be serious. You don't want me lines if you get serious. Okay, so she's all done. All the little quadrants are done in the little corners of all the panels and all that. I've checked I haven't missed any twice. And did a bit on the bonnet. I'm not sure if I filmed that or not. I can't remember. That's all just got to be cleaned off, pencil marks and stuff like that. So we're all kind of done. I didn't film any of the pinstriping on the back here. It's a little dark, but she's all on there. And yeah, so that's that little project complete. Tricky with the heat, and being, you know, it's November and we're coming right into our summer here in New Zealand. And so with that being said, had some baked beans. I use some boiled linseed oil at times just to kind of slow my drying down a little bit, because I was finding especially the gold was like going off and gooey super fast. The black wasn't far behind it. The white and the yellow and stuff, like on these guys, I wasn't really working on the areas long enough with those colors to kind of be an issue. But when you got a tin of, you know, a little pot of black, she was going off pretty quick in the pot. So yeah, so a little bit of linseed oil just kind of helps slow the sort of drying down a little bit. Just a couple of drops, you don't need much. And that was just enough to kind of give me a little bit of more working time before I needed to top off and whatnot. But yeah, she's all done. A few wiggly lines here and there, I won't lie. It was a challenge, but I remember last time when I did this truck, all of this outline and little drop shadows and stuff was a challenge then too. So just trying to find my rhythm with it. Once you get started and you get away, it's not too bad, but then every time you sort of pick up a brush again, you kind of have to get your rhythm back again. But anyway, enough about that. It's all done. I'll ring the guy and tell him it's all finished and it's ready for him to pick up after tomorrow, and I can get the old bomb truck back inside. As far as brushes and stuff go, usual kind of assortment of stuff here. For the striping, I used my Vondago Pro Series Quad Zero, an assortment of AS Hanover, chisel riders and pointed riders. I can't remember what size. I did talk about it during the processes and whatnot. We also used these two cafters here and there for a couple of things. Can't really remember what now. And also this Hayden 2000 series pure sable. I think it's a number 10. Obsolete, can't get those anymore. But all the other stuff you can get from their various websites. All the paint was pretty much one shot, except for a little bit of ripple green, which is on his cloth. I don't know why he has coloured cloth on that picture, but it's the way it was, so that's the way it got put back. And I quite like the vintage Willie the Waiter kind of better than the kind of more current one. I reckon he's way cooler, but that's just my opinion, you know. But anyway, that's enough jibber jabber. This video is done. Don't forget to subscribe to Dmac Kustoms on the YouTube, and head over to the website dmackustoms.com for all the merch and all cool stuff on there. You can, you know, go and rock your neighbourhood with a Dmac Kustoms t-shirt on, and people will just be like, where did you get that? And you just go, you got to be in the know. Yeah, thanks to those people who have ordered so far. Cheers, guys. Also, we're on the Facebook and Instagram, spamming you every week, telling you there's a new video coming up. And that's about it, really. So till next time, take it easy and peace. Be back on Area 51 next week, hopefully. I'm there. Got stuff. to do, lots of stuff to do.